So, we all know the trend when it comes to reboots. Most of the time, they take a beloved TV series and then they make it completely shit and untrue as to what the original show is all about. But that's not to say that there aren't any good reboots out there, 'cause it ain't just all bad reboots all the time, 'cause there could be some good ones hidden in the sludge. Mattel has ruined some beloved favorites like Thomas and Bob the Builder, and those are just two examples of bad reboots. And from the looks of Barney's world, it looks alright at best. But it seems as if they're gonna finally make a good reboot, in the form of the upcoming Pingu reboot by Aardman, the same guys behind Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep. However, we are going to step back in time, 10 years ago in fact, to when CBeebies was in its prime, and what I think is the best reboot to mankind.
Tinky Winky, Dipsy, La La, Ho.
The Teletubbies reboot from 2015 is the best reboot I have ever seen. At least, right now. The Pingu reboot may dethrone it, but right now, the Teletubbies reboot is the reigning king of all reboots in my opinion. I remember when this reboot first came out in 2015, it was bonkers. And I didn't think much of it back then. But ever since I did my character highlight reel episode on the Teletubbies, and when I reviewed the show back in 2021, I've been wanting to review this reboot for a while now, since I brought it up in the former. So now it's time to see what this reboot is made of. Is it better than the original? Did it manage to live up to that long gap of time since the original series' cancellation? Well, let's find out. Following the cancellation of the series in 2001, CBeebies aired a short-lived series starting in 2002, Teletubbies Everywhere, a 2-season-long 10-minute episode series that does not take place within Teletubbyland. Instead, on different colored backgrounds that change between the segments, that teaches young toddlers about colors, shapes, numbers, etc. This series later ended in August 2002, and 1 or 2 of its episodes would be shown at the beginning of certain home media releases. After that, the Teletubbies stayed pretty anonymous within the TV airings. Until 2014, when the BBC announced to the world that the Teletubbies would finally be making a return to TV screens the following year, with an all-new look. After 14 years of being off air. 13 if you count Teletubbies Everywhere. Maddie Darrell, the executive producer of Daryl McQueen, stated that to work on the new evolution of Teletubbies is like being handed the television crown jewels. Teletubbies changed the landscape of children's television and remains a much-loved preschool series. Our creative focus is on respecting the legacy and the heritage of the original and giving it a little creative scrub-up and technological sparkle to match the viewing expectations of a new generation. The show will be given a complete overhaul compared to the original. Gone are the days of being outside in the countryside being filmed near a farm. And now the new series would be filmed indoors. The Teletubbyland set would be made using matte paintings that would be compiled for the set dressing. Classic filmmaking, baby! The Teletubbies would be filmed on a blue screen to compile them onto the matte paintings, which looked pretty seamless if you ask me. But more on that later. The series finally aired on CBeebies in November 2015, with the episode Making Friends. Let me tell ya, I was in complete shock when I first saw this reboot back in 2015. Everything looked so much more vibrant than the original. There was an all-new voice cast, new sets, an upgraded theme song, the like. Everything was different compared to the show I once held so dear. But I didn't think much of it back then. It's probably because The Adventure Begins and Lost Treasure came out that year, and I was more so hyped for those than I was for this. Cause, you know, it's Thomas, duh. But after this latest rewatch, I am happy to say that there are some things in it that make it stand out against all other reboots that I have seen. Let's start by talking about the new set dressing. It looks fantastic! Everything looks so vibrant, the colors pop a lot. They make it so much more colorful compared to the bunker-like motif of the original series. I'll also say that the costumes for the characters look a lot more fresher than before. I don't know what material they use for the Tubbies themselves, but they have never looked so much more realer than before. Granted, I still prefer the original countryside-like sets, so I will give the reboot this. They at least tried to make the sets a lot more like the original, and the characters' costumes are almost similar to the originals, which is saying something, considering a lot of reboots nowadays take the original characters and make them so different to the point where they're almost unrecognizable. The score for this reboot is also just lovely to listen to. Granted, again, nothing beats the late 90s vibe of the original's music, but this is still a lovely score. The new theme song slaps, the TV event theme is ear candy, and the background pieces in general are very well done. And helping is the fact that the score pulled on Mario Kart 8. What I mean is that past Mario Kart games were composed digitally, whereas with their latest entry, they brought on an actual orchestra to provide the score. And that's the same case here, and the orchestra do a great job of bringing this reboot to life. The new voices for the Teletubbies are also just wonderful for the ears. In fact, I'd go as far to say that I think they're on par with the original VAs, as I stated in my character highlight reel episode on them. There's not a single VA here that I dislike. In fact, I'd go as far to say that my favorite VA in this reboot is Rebecca Hyland. I may be biased by saying that because, well, Lala is my favorite Teletubby out of the four, but still, she's great in this. Hell, even the voice trumpets have some variety with the voices, which is cool. But the thing that I appreciate the most about this reboot is the very clear attempt with keeping this as consistent with the original as possible. Keeping the same beat and rhythm to the theme song to not alienate audiences or anything is one thing. I mean, consider this one line from Bella in the episode The Awakening.
If you ignore his complete lack of rhythm and the fact that he's tone deaf.
They could have done that here, but they didn't. And keeping the looks of the characters as close to their original costumes as possible. Cause like I said at the beginning of the video, with most reboots, they take a classic design and then just horribly butcher it for no apparent reason other than to appeal to the modern audiences. I mean, given that the BBC distributed this, they didn't want to stray too far with it. They wanted to keep it the same, just in a new and modern way. And that's something that I massively appreciate. It's the same case with Pingu as well. We've already seen what the stop motion model for Aardman's series is going to be like. It's crazy though, seeing how good the BBC treated Teletubbies here to how Mattel treated Thomas with All Engines Go. It's like a clear night and day difference. As much as I really enjoy this new Teletubbies though, it's not perfect, and it has its glaring flaws. The worst of these is probably the change-up that the windmill got. What on earth happened to it? Gone is the solar, kind of modern-esque looking windmill of the original that has an ear-gasming sound effect, to now just a generic farm windmill. This is undoubtedly my biggest issue with this reboot. Why didn't they just create a windmill that looks more like the original? I don't get why that was the case. And while the TV event segment is pretty much the same as it was in the original, I feel like they missed the point in terms of who gets picked. In the original show, the windmill kept spinning pink so that you couldn't tell who gets picked until the character's antenna and tummy lit up. Whereas in the reboot, the windmill after a while spins a select colored spark so that you could tell who gets picked. It's cool, I guess, but it kind of takes away the whole who's gonna be picked type of thing. Nunu's new color scheme I also take some issue with. While he is still the same old Nunu we all know and love, I don't really get why they didn't just keep to the original blue livery he had back in the original. Now he's just orange, with a little bit of pink to him. Same goes with Poe's scooter as well. That went from blue and pink to now orange and pink. Why the change? But at least now Poe has a helmet, so that's something, I guess. But this last one is probably the one you all are probably going to agree with me on. In 2022, the show was redubbed for American audiences with Titus Burgess of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Babe as a narrator. I apologize if I just butchered that. And a completely different sun face. Just what on earth were Netflix on when they did this? Just look at the 2015 Sun Baby. It looks infinitely better than whatever the this is. But those issues aren't really infuriating. They're also either nitpicky or confusing, if that makes sense. It's not like a complete redesign of a character to make him or her more flashier just for the sake of appealing modern day audiences. Hell no. Because this reboot is still incredibly good. Oh, and also, where are the dances? And where are the cool ass magical events? They're all completely missing in the reboot. And that is why the Teletubbies Reboot, in my opinion, is one of the most consistent reboots I have seen, and is easily the best one I have watched. Like I said, the Pingu reboot may dethrone it, but at the moment, this is still the best one. Vibrant sets, lovely music, brilliant voice acting, and the character costumes aren't completely butchered like most other cartoon characters' reboot designs. And it is so apparent why these guys made a surprising appearance on Britain's Got Talent as special guests for their 25th anniversary. This was possibly the biggest shock I ever got when watching this show. Nevertheless, it was so surreal seeing these guys on the London Palladium stage. Kudos to you, Tubbies. Kudos to you. I'd have to say that out of the 4 reboots I'll be covering this year, the Teletubbies one was honestly the one I had the most fun with. Pingu's reboot, as I've said in this video like 4 times already, is not out at this point yet. And the other 3 reboots I'll be reviewing are quite a bit of a mixed range. Particularly one that I am absolutely dreading to cover. But more on that when we get there. Let me know what you guys think of this reboot, and let me know what your favourite episode is from all across the reboot. For me, it's probably Reflections, because I think it's just so damn funny. But tell me what your favourites are in the comments below. While on the topic of Teletubbies, a new custom special is in the works. I have not worked on a new custom special since, gosh, 2022, wow. And I hope to get at least 7 more custom specials done in the future. That's if I have the energy to do them. If you guys have any suggestions for titles and the content of that special, comment them below. If you guys enjoyed this in-depth talk about this reboot, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on the newest content. Until next time, bye guys.